In this episode, we will be adding some sound effects for when the player jumps and lands and places things and collects things. We'll be adding dust particles, we'll be fixing a few bugs, and I'm going to show you where to get some royalty-free music for sound effects and background music. Welcome back to the platform tutorial. This is the final episode and we're going to finish off the game. We're going to add a little bit more polish. We're going to add some sound effects. We're going to add a condition where if the bomb blast goes off and the player's next to it, the player will also take damage. We need to tweak a few little bugs like the timer reset when we go from level 1 to level 2. The timer doesn't reset, which is obviously terrible because you don't want to start level 2 with like 20 seconds to go. So we need to add that reset function in. Well, it's not really a function. We just add it in at the beginning on starter layout. We're going to add some dust particles. So when he lands on the floor, we get a little dust particle effect. And obviously we're going to put in all the sound effects. So I'm going to show you how to import sound, where to find royalty-free sound for your games as well. So let's get on with it. First thing we're going to do is add in the condition that kills the player when he touches the bomb blast. This is quite easy. We can go to the event sheet for this under player death. So we've got already a condition in here which says on collision with the death collision box, he's going to die. We've also got this event here that says that when he touches the bullet gets destroyed and he flashes. So this is the one here that we're going to recreate because we don't want to kill him outright when he gets hit by the bomb. We just want to copy this entire block. So click on the arrow, copy and paste it down, and just change the bullet to bomb blast or to the blast, sprite blast. So if the player collides with the blast, we don't need to destroy anything. The player's going to flash, subtract 1 from score, and then trigger once, subtract 1 from health. So that pretty much takes care of that. We can quickly test that out. Perfect. So that one's done. The next thing we need to do is reset the timer when we finish the level. So on initialize, on starter layout, we've got all of these conditions in here that happen. So we call the fade in. Let me just check to make sure that, no, we're just basically just fading that in. We turn the in-game boolean to true. We set all the other conditions. So what we need to do here is click on add action. We need to go to system and we need to set the value of timer. And we've given the level time 120 seconds. So at the beginning of the level, we set the timer back to 120 seconds. There's no point testing the game now because it already defaults to that when we start because we've got that timer up here set as 120. The only thing that happened is when we exited the level, under level exit, we didn't have anything in there to say reset the timer, but we don't really need to put it in there. We can just put it on starter layout because at the beginning of every layout, we're going to reset the timer anyway. So that's not a problem. The next thing we need to do is add some dust particles to the player when he lands. So let's go ahead and create those now. If we go back to layout 1, just double click anywhere you like. We're going to add a particle effect. Resize it 5 by 5. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to get a dirty kind of brownish grey colour. Get a pencil tool. I'm just going to make it slight circle effect. And I'm going to add some shading to it on the bottom. And I'm going to add some highlight to it on the top. Just to there, I think. That's going to be absolutely fine. There's our particle effect. We can just pop it out to the side here so we can see it. Now we can preview it, and that is not what we want. For one, the spray cone is at 60, which is going out this way. We can change that to 270, and that will kind of go up and down a little bit. Although what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to 0 and I'm going to just rotate the sprite upwards. So now it's going straight up, but we don't want it to go straight up. Let's just change the rate down to 20. let's go one shot rather than continuous spray. I'm going to take the speed down to 100. The size is going to go back to 5 because that was the size of our original pixel. The grow rate I can put 2. That's how much they grow as they move through the animation. We definitely want an X randomizer, so it's not all going to go straight up in one line. Let's do 25, and we'll do 10 on the Y, and we'll do a speed randomizer of 10. And a size randomizer of 5, and a grow rate randomizer. I just want it to be nice and random. There we go, that's looking a little better, but it's still going too high. And I want to change the spray cone to 90. Oh, that's better. So you can see how it goes out in this 90-degree angle now, facing upwards. That's nice. It's still going too high, so we just need to bring the speed down. Oh. And I don't like how it's dropping downwards when they fall, and that's, I think, the Y randomizer. The acceleration is minus 150, so they go up and they get pulled back down again. That's better. I want to fade to invisible, but I want that to happen in half the time at 0.5. Speed randomizer, bring that down by half. That's getting a little better. Let's see what that looks like. PAR underscore dust. So what I want to do now is when I go back to the event sheet, I want to go to the player controls. So I've got this condition here which basically says when player is jumping. I want to create another one similar to that. So we want to go into the sprites, SPR player, and then we want to go down to the platform and we want to say, so the platform animation triggers, and we want to say on landed. So every time he lands on the ground, we basically want to just spawn in that animation. And we can either do create we can either do a create object or we can get the player to spawn it. So let's just go system create object. The object we want to create is the particles. Where are they? Particles dust. Remember, we're going to put everything, we're putting everything on the items layer. And then the X and the Y, we want it to go at the player's feet. So I'm just going to leave it at 0 right now. I'm going to show you. When we double click on the player, this is the image point. So this one here, this is exactly where we want the particles to spawn from when he lands, right in the middle of his feet. It's going to be the same everywhere when he's jumping or what have you. That's exactly where. So we've got this other image point here, which is 1. We don't want that. We want the image point 0. So we can identify that here in the X and Y position. So we want to go SPR underscore player dot image point X and then 0. SPR underscore player dot image point Y and then in brackets 0. And that brackets in 0 is the number of the image point. So we've got 2 on the player, but the first one is at the feet, which is 0. If we click done, every time we land now, we're going to create that particle effect. There. Very nice. Well, maybe it's a little bit too big. I think we could probably make it a tad smaller. Let's go back. It's probably to do with the grow rates and the randomizers. A layout one. Click on the particles here. Take the grow rate to 0 and size randomizer to 0. Let me preview it in here a minute. Speed. Take that down to 30. And again, that's better. You can play around with these settings. I think I'll take the opacity down to 80. Grow rate X randomizer is fine. Speed randomizer, let's take it down to 5. That's a bit better. Grow rate randomizer 0. Let's try that. Great, I'm happy with that. That works for me. You can play around with yours if you want to change it slightly. That's not a problem. But that's how we add the dust particles every time the player lands. Now we just need to add some sound. So for that, we need to go over to an internet web page. I like to use freesound.org. This can be a bit inconsistent. Sometimes you can find some real gems on here. Sometimes they're a bit iffy, but we just need to search sound. So the first sound we need to look for, I want to add a jumping sound effect. So you can type in jumping. And then the first thing you want to do on the licenses over here is come over and select Creative Commons. That means it's free to use. And I like to filter it down even further and just find the WAV files. I just find they're better quality. And then you can preview. Turn the sound up. See how that sounds not too great. If you can hear that. No good. Okay, I'm going to go with this one. It's very cartoony, but I think it fits. So all we do is click on it, and then come over here to download, and then you can save it. Okay, when you've saved it to your computer, we now need to add in an audio component. So double click. We need to come down here under the general category. No, that's a lie. We need to come down under the media category and just double click audio. So we needed to add the audio to the game, and now we've added it. Now we can add sound. So down in the hierarchy of the project folder here, we can click on sounds. You can right click and you can import sounds. Click on import audio. So navigate to where that file is on your computer and just import it. When it's imported, it will say complete, and then you can click import. Now we have it here and we can play with it. You can probably give it a better name than that. Jump. Okay, now we go back to the event sheet. Under the player controls, when we push the W button, which is jump, we're going to simulate platform pressing jump, and we're going to add an action just underneath, and we're going to say audio, and we're going to play the jump. And again, there's only one audio file in our game right now, so it's going to default to that. We don't want it to loop. The default volume is 0. That's basically the highest amount of volume it is, and then you just go into minuses under the dB, I think it's decibels, to reduce the volume. So I want to leave it at full volume and see what it looks like. There's a tag option down here. You can leave that blank. That's if you want to refer to it in other parts of the code, but we're not going to get that complicated with the sound, so we can just leave that blank. Hit done. Test the game. Now we can jump with a nice little sound. I'm going to bring the sound down a little bit. Great, I'm happy with that. Now I want to add a sound like a kind of thud when he hits the floor. So we head on over to Freesound. I'm going to type in thud. Oh, go to Creative Commons and wave. Import sounds, import audio, find the file. Okay, find it, add it in, import it, and now we need to add that in whenever we get hurt. So if we go down under here under player death, when we collide, I think I want a different sound altogether when we die, but I think when we just take damage, that's when I want it to play. And again, we could have put a function in for this, player damage, but we didn't. We've just duplicated our code all over the place here. So in fact, let's do that now. Let's tidy that up. We've got the functions down here. We've got player def. Let's right click, add another function, and we're going to call this player damage. So when we take damage, we obviously want to we want to subtract 1 from health. one from score, and we want them to flash. I think that's it. So let's just drag them. Let's just copy these. Hold down Control. We can drag those down. Flash. And then we want a sub event as well, because we want to trigger this once. Trigger once while true. And we want to do the subtract 1 from health, which we can drag down and pop in there. So we flash, subtract 1 from score, and we also want to trigger once the sound. So we don't want it to play multiple times, which is the player hurt, not looping, keep the sound the same. And now we can just call that function. So on here, whenever we take damage, so when we land and the fall time is greater than 2, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. We can simply just call that function, player damage. And now I can copy and drag out another one to go up here on collision with blast, take damage. That means we don't need that trigger once in anymore. And again, when we collide with the bullet, we can destroy the bullet still, but then the damage we don't need to worry about. We can take the damage. So now that's just nice and tidy. Every time we want to change anything to do with player damage, we've got it down here, and I'll drag that in to the functions. Great. Okay, let's test it. We're taking damage. Fine. Fine. Nice. Great. Perfect. Okay, now we want to play a death sound. So when we die, it's a bit more of a moan, I think. Dying sound. Or maybe a retro sound. Yeah, I like that. We'll put that in on top of the die animation. Let's download it. It's an MP3, but it should be fine. Go back to your game. Go back to your sound folder, import it. Import audio. Find it. Import it. Okay, yeah, the MP3 is not the best. It might be inconsistent. Let's import it anyway. Let's see if it works. So we want this to happen just when the player dies. So we can put this in on the player death function. So we can go sound, play, game die, not looping once. Again, we'll do this on a trigger once because I don't want it to loop over and over again. I can just drag that down there. Let's see what that sounds like. Shoot me. Yeah, it comes in a bit late because it's going to go through all of these things first, and you can see we've got the wait 1 second. So let's put that at the top a minute. It says not looping. I'm worried that it might play it over and over again. No, it's fine. Yeah, I like it. That looks good. That sounds good to me. Does it sound good to you? I think so. Right, now we need a bomb dropping on the floor, like dropping a ball. When we drop the bomb, let's get it. Import sounds. You know the drill. So we want it to go in when the bomb hits the floor. So we push the space bar, but don't forget we can drop a bomb in the air, and I don't want that sound to happen when we push the space bar. So what I want it to do is I want it to happen when the bomb hits the ground. So I'm going to add in an event, and I'm going to say sprites which bomb is it? We've got so many bombs, I forget. It's the one that he drops. So it's the bomb EXP. So I'm going to say sprite bomb EXP on collision with another object, and that object will be the ground. So the TB ground. So when the bomb collides with the ground, that's when I want to play the audio. I only want to play it once because the bomb will be on the ground possibly for some time. So I'm going to go trigger once, and I'm going to go audio, and I'm going to play the sound there, not looping. So let's see if that works. That's great. I mean, it's got that bounce. So when it hits twice, it plays twice, but I can't help but feel it's playing a couple of extra times. And it's only doing that once on there. So bomb on collision with ground, trigger once. Why is it playing twice? Okay, I think it's because it's on that sine wave. It's pulsing in and out. So I think when it gets smaller and bigger, it's colliding with the ground. Okay, we can simply just set a Boolean variable on this thing. So we can go add instance variable. I'm going to call it dropped Boolean, and it's initially not been dropped. So we just add a condition. Select just these two bits, push C. We're going to go into the sprite, into the bomb EXP. We're going to compare the Boolean. We're going to say if push I to invert. So we're going to say when it collides with the ground, if it hasn't already been dropped, trigger once this. And then once we've triggered that, we can then go in and set the, where is it? We can go in and set the Boolean to dropped to true. That should fix it. It's only going to drop once. Oh, trust me. Okay, let's get the other bomb. Great, I'm happy with that. I don't even mind that it doesn't bounce because bombs don't really bounce. But it only triggers once now because we've put in that little kind of variable that tracks that. That's fine, that's good. What else do we need to put in? I want to put in a shooting sound for when these guys shoot. Creative Commons. Wave. No. No. Nope. No. No. It's got to be cleaner. No. I want it to be retro. Retro shoot. Creative Commons. Wave. Show me what you got. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do it. Or this one. That one. I prefer it. Sounds cleaner to me. Save it. Let's import it. Okay, when it's imported, import it. Go back to the event sheet. I think this one's on the enemies. Enemies event sheet. Collision shooting. Here we go. Where we call the projectile. Function enemy shooting. It's in a function enemy shooting. Yeah, so we just need to play the sound. So going in here, audio, play, projectile, not looping. There. Put it at the beginning and let's see what happens. Love it. Sounds fantastic. I want to put in a walking sound effect for when he's walking, like walking through leaves, because we're jumping and it sounds like leaves. Walking in leaves. Is that how you say leaf? Did I spell that right? Walking in leaf. Okay. Why can't I spell? Walking in forest. Okay. Walking. There we go. All right. Here you go. Walking in long grass. Creative Commons. Let's go wave. Walking with a stop. I don't want anything that's a minute. We want to loop something. We want something that's a relatively short timer. Walking. Too much background noise. Let's just change it to footsteps. No. 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 I'm not going to search. I think I'm going to leave it. I don't want to put the footsteps in. If you can find some decent footsteps, then by all means put it in, and then you can loop it. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to put in some music now. So I think what we need in terms of sound effects, in fact, no, we need to put some, what we need to do now is put in a coin pickup. Coin pickup. Creative Commons on wave. That's a Super Mario one. Yeah, let's do this one. Download. Okay. Got the coin pickup. We also need a health pickup. Health pickup. Creative Commons. Okay. We don't have anything decent there. Let's do power up. Better. Yeah, I like it. We're going to go with that one. Straight out, the first one out of the box. Power up. So that's picking up the hearts, that's picking up the coins. We need another power up for picking up the bombs. No. That could be good for the end of the level. Well, it's a bit long. Nope. 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 Too long. Nope. 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 No, I don't like it. No, I don't like it. Okay, let's go with this one. Okay, go back, import the sounds. Then on the event sheet, we need to put them in. On the collisions are the collectibles. So when we collect with the coin, we're going to play the coin pickup. And I've renamed mine for ease, coin pickup. When we collide with the bomb, we're going to play the audio. We're going to play the bomb pickup. And then when we collide with the health, we're going to play the health pickup, the heart pickup. And I think that might be it for game sound effects. Then we just need to put some background music, which we'll do. Okay, last thing we need to do is a blast sound. Meh. Too long. No. Oh, that's perfect. But what license is it? Creative Commons. Perfect. Let's have it. And it's a wave. What luck. Okay, last one. Import sounds. Now we need to put that in when the bomb explodes. Is that under controls? Yeah. When the bomb timer reaches 0, we're going to play it. This one. Play. Test it one more time. Okay, it played when it hit the ground. Okay, is it because we've got... Okay, I've got one here on the level. So all I need to do is move that to layer 2. I'll move it to this layer for now. We should, I think we need to have one on the screen. Unless, is it a create object? No, it's a spawn. So it has to be in one of the layers for it to spawn in. Okay. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put it in there. I'm going to get rid of that. I only want to play it Perfect. Yeah, it's fine. It's just because we had the bomb in the layer at the bottom there. Basically, when the layer started, although you couldn't see it, it was off screen, it still counted down its timer and then exploded. So by sticking it on here, the only thing that's going to happen is when we get to the end of the level screen, that's going to go off and create a bomb sound on here. So the way to do that, and this is something we could have done anyway, and it's probably good practice to do, is just create a separate layer, layer only, and just call it objects. So you never actually get to this layer, but you can keep everything on it so it's nice and tidy. And pop it there, and then it's out of the way, and it won't be relevant in the game, but it still has to be on a layer. So when we use that spawn, player spawn another object, it's only going to be able to spawn it if that object's in the game. So because it's over here in the game being loaded, the system's going to know where to find it effectively. So that's what that does. But that's great. We've got all the sound effects we need. The only thing we need now is a bit of background music. So let's head over to Bensound. Bensound is a great royalty-free website that lets you use music in your indie games. You can buy them. There are purchasable sounds on here, so if you want something that's specifically yours, you can do. There's licensing options, but you can use the royalty-free music as long as you leave a credit in the game or in the description somewhere when you do use it, and you can just come over and play them. Find something that works for you. I'm gonna have a little look around and find one that I like. Okay, I think I'm going to go with this one. It's called Badass. Another 70s funky royalty-free track. And it's about 150. Our levels are 120, so it's fine. It'll fit quite nicely. Another great resource, actually, while it's on my mind, is head over to Itch and search Joshua McLean. He's a composer, developer, and streamer. Several pieces of music as free royalty-free music packs, which you'll find below. So you can use any of these. Music pack, chiptune, maybe a chiptune soundtrack might be more appropriate. And you can try them out down here. I mean, that's quite nice. Maybe we should use that one. Well, this one's quite good. I'm going to use the 50s bit, or maybe Down the River We Go. Well, we have a river in ours. Should we get this one? Okay, so I've downloaded it. Come over to the hierarchy again. Instead of in sound, just right click and import music. For longer pieces of music, you want to stick it in the music folder. I've loaded in the Down the River We Go one here. Go in the event sheet, initialize on start layout, audio, play, Down the River We Go. There we go. Let's play it. Okay guys, I've just changed it slightly. I've dragged it into the sound folder. When I had it in the music folder, it wasn't playing for some reason, but I dragged it into the sound folder and it's working fine now. So let's try and play the game. And there you have it. there is our platform game. All finished, all done. Sound effects. Sound effects. Jump animation. Bit of polish. Guys, if you enjoyed this tutorial series, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you're not subscribed, subscribe for future tutorials. I'm going to be doing lots and lots of tutorials on this channel on all manner of games using the Construct 3 game engine. Thanks for following along, guys, and I will see you in another video.